My name is John Creger. I'm a high school English teacher, and I'm talking today about my intentions for my students. And I would like them to experience a gain in understanding wisdom in a way that helps them actually unfold themselves. That's the term I use. Understanding and unfolding. And so I organize my class in a way that has evolved over about 20 years or so. The culmination of the class is a project. Actually, it's the culmination of the project called the Personal Creed Project. And it is a project that helps students think reflectively and systematically back over their experience in life. They think back on the circumstances in which they've grown up, the region, the community, the family in which they've grown up, color of their skin, culture, ethnic background, the background circumstances. They start with reflecting upon those kinds of deep, yes, but surface in the sense that it's easy to reflect on them at the beginning. And the reflections are weekly reflections, and they move through experiences, activities, then they move into the third week, people. They reflect on people that have been influential in their lives. They move on to then a deeper level and start thinking about questions that may have been influential. They may wonder about something, or they may have a collection of things they wonder about, and this project enables them to consider what they're questioning in life. They move then into qualities that they themselves possess, traits, character traits. They do kind of an assessment of their own character traits. This project goes through a series of steps, and the steps lead students to a statement in which they say, well, to the best of my understanding and as honestly as I can articulate it, this is what I stand for. This is what I value. This is what matters to me. This comes at the end of about 16 weeks of reflection. And then they make a presentation before their classmates and their teacher, in which they say, well, these are the influences that have shaped me. These are the people and the forces that have formed me. This is what I stand for in life. This is the kind of person I'd like to become in 10 years. These are the qualities, in other words, that I would wish to develop in myself. And this is how I might like to be serving others at that time. There is an element of purpose that is now coming into the project as an option to think about a deeper sense of life purpose too. Well, these culminating presentations are really rites of passage in the classroom. At the school where I teach, American High School in Fremont, we have most of our sophomores that go through this project. And it really is a kind of a collective excitement that grips the sophomore class with this project, because it's a chance for each student to stand up and say, well, this is who I am, and this is why I am this way, and this is the kind of person I wish to be, and the way I wish to help others, serve others. I think I might have left that portion out of it. So it's something that kids get very excited about. It's all about them. Teenagers love to have the chance to revel in who they are, and they rarely get the opportunity. Well, how does this relate to the topic of helping them understand wisdom? This comes at the end of the year. And at the beginning of the year, we have a project called the World Wisdom Project. This is a world literature course. So it fits right in with the curriculum for us to have students reading, discussing, doing various activities around sources of wisdom. We look at short pieces from the Bible, the Quran, Sufi poems and tales. We look at Zen parables, Taoist anecdotes, the Hindu Panchatantra, and I try to throw in pieces of wisdom, pieces that kids can take wisdom away from whatever cultural background the students in my class represent. So what this does is it helps to connect all of us in our initial understandings of wisdom. We also watch the film Crash, which can be seen as an expression of potential unity. Unity is our theme for the first quarter. And we are looking at the topic of wisdom, but from a more focused angle. We're looking at the question, in a world that is so full of conflict, how can we achieve a deeper unity? So the first quarter focuses on that question. It's compared to what you heard me talk about with the Creed project. I think you can see that this is a little bit more abstract, a little safe, a little bit more general. Students aren't having to, at the beginning of the year, stand up and talk about themselves. This is a chance for them to see some of the traditional expressions of wisdom, and particularly when it comes into a contemporary film like Crash, they can make the connections between, the Crash actually represents many different ethnicities. And we've read many different sources of wisdom, from Islamic sources to African American sources. We read Langston Hughes' poem Mother to Son, and we listen to a song, one of Tupac's songs, Keep Your Head Up, to Asian wisdom, as I've mentioned already. And all these groups are represented in the film. And I think that really helps kids today. It helps it become real for them. So, at the beginning of the year, we look at world wisdom. At the end of the year, we gradually move to the personal understanding of wisdom that helps students unfold themselves in a rite of passage. Well, and how do we then get from this beginning more general discussion of wisdom to the ending more personal kind? Well, I'm just going to mention 3 of several practices that I use, and each, I guess I should call them principles, and then numbers of practices support those principles. The first one is what I call sustained, purposeful reflection. It's kind of we have a practice in education called sustained silent reading, which sometimes sounds a bit forced, and I like to play on that expression. So I call it sustained purposeful reflection. And the Creed project is the centerpiece of that principle. And it's the centerpiece practice in the principle of sustained purposeful reflection through the year. And we do numbers of different practices that, I will discuss further. In my book, I discuss further. And in my workshops I offer for teachers, we go into that more deeply. The second principle is pervasive questioning. And we have questions coming every which way. Maybe we should call it every which way but answered. Because questions are really the gas that drives the class car. We have an overarching question for the entire year. How can a sophomore learn to think and act as a global citizen, a world citizen? We have a question for each quarter. The first quarter question is unity. How can we achieve unity in such a fractured world? And we have a question for each quarter. And the students then, in response to each quarter's question, create their personal questions, PBQs, personal questions. And those personal questions, I invite them to use those personal questions to guide their reading choices, their choices of essay topics. So their personal questions, for those who are willing and able, can serve as kind of a way to navigate the curriculum and get more personal meaning, juice out of the curriculum. And then we have projects, and there are questions that drive the projects. And then, even on a daily basis, we take students take Cornell notes. I'm a teacher in a program called AVID, which teaches a higher level of questioning. And so every day in every class, my AVID students are required to take notes and ask questions on a daily basis, specific level questions concerning the day's content in their various classes. And so they're asking questions from the bottom to the top. So we have sustained purposeful reflection, we have pervasive questioning, and we also have cultivating wisdom. And obviously the study of the wisdom traditions is part of it, but another part of it is 7 underlying themes that I'm experimenting with that I think are universal themes that all of the literature that we study as an English class can fit into. And I'll just end for now with just mentioning these themes. I see our time is running short. And these themes are unity, love, life, respect, honesty, justice, and kindness. And I've taken quotations from sources that are outside the field of education, and I'm experimenting with bringing them in on these particular themes. And so we do exercises in class at the beginning of class period called a thought log, and we have one of these quotations. Students pick through in the short writing. They share in pairs, and then we have a whole class discussion. So these thought log activities are another way we carry forward the cultivation of wisdom. Also, the thought log enables us to continue with pervasive questioning and the principle of sustained purposeful reflection. So these are some of the ways, some of the principles and practices that I use to promote students' understanding of wisdom, and in a way that seems to help them actually unfold as human beings. And it has an added benefit of helping many of them who were not very engaged in learning before become more interested in learning. Because the unfolding of a human being, I think the core movement in the unfolding of a human being is learning. And why not learn wisdom as opposed to simple facts that are unattached to meaning? Thank you for listening.